Hello oddities and welcome to a new video. Now, it's been a while since I talked about the latest game in the Mortal Kombat franchise, Mortal Kombat 1. And I've been pushing this video back for quite a while, but I feel like it's finally time to talk about the state of the game. The game came out in September of last year and since then has garnered somewhat of a reputation of being dead by the fighting game community, and it's kind of hard to argue that that wasn't true, at least for a certain period of time. I mean, with all the screenshots of low player counts and streaming views next to the other top fighting games at the time, it definitely wasn't a good look. But the game is starting to pick up a little bit more steam now, and it's in a much better place than it was a few months back. But the problem is that the last few DLC characters of Kombat Pack 1, Homelander, Ferra, and Takeda, are about to release, so after that, how can Mortal Kombat 1 keep the hype going? Well, let's weigh the options and see which ones NRS is most likely to take. Now obviously we still have the last few Kombat Pack 1 characters, which I already mentioned, in Homelander, who just received his first trailer, but I don't think it was a full trailer, I'm pretty sure it was just a teaser, and there's been a lot of talk about his voice actor. Apparently, it's not going to be Anthony Starr, or it is Anthony Starr, or it's not him, and it's actually Andrew Bowen, Johnny Cage's voice actor. I don't know what's going on with that, but I don't know. I don't watch The Voice, so I don't really care. After that, I assume Ferra is going to come out a few weeks after Homelander, since for some reason they have the cameo fighters released like a few weeks after the main fighter, which I don't really get. I think it would make more sense to release them at the same time. Like, even if you have to delay the main fighter, like, I don't know, I would just think it would be better to release it at the same time, but for whatever reason, they're not doing that. And then Takeda will release after that, and for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like he's going to have a cameo fighter attached to him. And at some point within all this, we're going to get at least one 1995 movie skin, with that confirmed one being Scorpion's 1995 design, which looks great. I got proven wrong on Twitter, okay? I made this tweet saying, why can't NRS make anything as cool as this? Over, I'm pretty sure that one was a mod of a 1995 Scorpion design, but they actually did it. So, yeah. Made me look like kind of an idiot. But I don't think there's any way that they're just going to have one of these skins, so I'm pretty sure we're going to get 3 more 1995 movie skins, since generally within these sort of mini skin pack things, they usually have them in groups of 4. So what 3 1995 skins will we get? Well, I can only speculate, but I definitely think we're going to get one for Katana, since Ed Boon already kind of hinted at it on Twitter, and then I think we're going to get one for Sub-Zero and Reptile. So those are going to be the other 3, and I know it's kind of cheap to have 3 ninjas that all basically have the same design, just different colors as a part of the skin pack. They're not very unique, but what other options do you really have? You can't go with any of the ones that we already got in the last game, so probably no Sonya, probably no Raiden, probably no Shang Tsung, and definitely not Johnny Cage, since his design in this game, at default, is basically the same thing as his 1995 design, so there's no point in doing that. So that leaves Goro, who's a cameo fighter and probably won't be prioritized over a real character, and Liu Kang, whose design in that movie was just a bit too basic to be included without the actor coming in for the likeness and the voice acting, which I don't think they're doing this time around. So that really only leaves you with Katana and the 3 ninjas as your options for a 1995 movie skin pack. But now let's start getting into the really juicy speculation. Sort of. You see, because of data mines and leaks, we already have a very good idea of what we're going to get going forward with Mortal Kombat 1, so if you do not want to be spoiled, then it's best you click off, and ideally watch one of my other videos. But the next piece of content that Mortal Kombat 1 will most likely receive will be following in the footsteps of Mortal Kombat 11. There was a Kombat Pack, and then there was a story expansion, and it sounds like that's what we're going to be getting for Mortal Kombat 1, which will follow the events of the post-credit scene of the main story of the game. Just like Aftermath, this story expansion would most likely see new characters, stages, and maybe even a new fatality type. So, starting off with the characters that you'll be able to play within this expansion, this is when the leaked spoilers get very, very explicit. So this is your last warning. If you do not want to be spoiled, click away from the video. The story expansion, if the leaks are true, will have Sector, Cyrax, Noob Saibot, Ghostface, the T-1000, and Conan the Barbarian as playable characters. Now, it's a bit unclear about which characters are a part of which expansion in the leaks. There are some other characters that have been leaked for the game, but from what I'm able to gather, those other characters make more sense for a Kombat Pack 2 later down the line. So I think these are the characters we're getting within this story expansion, which is 6 characters, which is quite a lot since Aftermath only had 3. Starting with Sector and Cyrax, I mean, this was just an obvious inclusion. These characters haven't been playable as their full selves as separate characters in a Mortal Kombat game since Mortal Kombat 9, which was over 10 years ago. That's insane. But there is a little bit of a catch here. Sector will be fine. He'll be mostly his normal self. But, you know, obviously with the standard changes that come along with every Mortal Kombat 1 character within this new era. Cyrax's changes, however, he's a bit different. Or maybe I should say, she's a bit different. Cyrax will now be a woman, which comes along with good and bad news. Starting with the bad news, the only female representation within this Kombat Pack is a gender-swapped male character, which, you know, the Kombat Packs already haven't been that great with having female representation, so that's not the best. But the good news is that Cyrax will not be played by Travis Scott, which is what rumors were suggesting earlier on. That would have been much worse. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see how it's been done. I haven't looked too much into the story aspect of it. I've just seen Cyrax is now a woman. So, you know, who knows how it's gonna go. But, you know, as long as they don't make it cringy, I don't really care. Moving on to Noob Saibot W. Just W. I mean, I have no idea how this is gonna work because there's already Bi-Han in the game. So from what I've read, apparently it's gonna be like maybe an alternate timeline version of Bi-Han that Sector and Cyrax are trying to save or something. I don't know. I didn't read too much into it, but just W, all right? W. My favorite character is in the game twice. All right, now on to the guests, starting with Ghostface. I was expecting this, then I wasn't expecting it, and then I went back to expecting it. And if you're a fan of the Scream franchise and you've been keeping up with all the latest news about it, you'll understand why. Basically, the studio behind the newer Scream movies, Scream 5 and 6, were developing Scream 7, but ended up firing the main actress of the last 2 movies, Melissa Barrera, for supporting Palestine. And this caused the whole cast that they were building up for the last 2 movies, the new characters and all that, all of the actors and stuff just left to be in support of Melissa Barrera. And so I totally thought this movie was just done, just canceled, but apparently not. Because when in doubt, nostalgia bait. They brought back Neve Campbell, the actress who had played Sidney Prescott in Screams 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, but had missed out on 6 because of payment stuff. And they brought her back, they paid her what she actually deserved to try and make people forget about what happened, but we didn't forget. So the movie is still happening, I think, so Ghostface will most likely be in the next DLC release for Mortal Kombat 1, and it sounds like we're not going to be getting a specific Ghostface from the movies like Billy or Stu or one of the other ones. Instead, we're going to be getting something like what Dead by Daylight has with its version of Ghostface, Danny Johnson, where it's an original character with the Ghostface mask and costume slapped onto him. And I personally prefer that. I think that's cooler than just having one of the Ghostfaces from the movies because you're able to tie it in more with the already established universe. Imagine a Ghostface that's like a begruntled Johnny Cage cast member or something. I don't know. Something cool like that. You could even get really Mortal Kombat-y with it, like if you have like an Outworld Ghostface or a Chaos Realm Ghostface. Havoc as Ghostface. That would be awesome. As for Conan, I don't really know what to say for him. He there, I guess. Then we're getting the T-1000 from Terminator 2, and I'm a bit baffled by this because we just got a Terminator character in the last game who wasn't received very well. Like, he wasn't terrible or anything, but he was just a bit lackluster compared to other guests. And I think there's a much more interesting pick for a DLC character with a very similar moveset to what the T-1000 would bring. And it would be bringing back an old tradition of Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat has always been adapting characters that were kind of fan-made or fringy type characters, or this sounds weird to say, but like accident type characters like Ermac or Scarlet, characters that came from glitches, stuff like that. And I think this would have been a really, really cool opportunity if you want to have a liquid metal character to introduce Chrome, who I'm pretty sure his origins were like as a misprint of a Sub-Zero or Smoke sort of action figure, and their colors got misprinted as white. So people kind of made up this idea of a white ninja that had the powers of liquid metal. And I think that's a really, really cool ability. So I'm not like bagging on them for introducing a character like this, since there's a lot of potential within the gameplay. But I think a lot of people would have thought it would be really cool to play as a new ninja for the first time in a while for MK, and have it be Chrome, a character that people have been speculating about and has been a rumored character to appear in one of these games for a very long time. So I would have preferred Chrome, but we're getting the T1000. Maybe Chrome could be like a skin or something. That'd be awesome. Now, what about a new fatality type that could be introduced within this story expansion? Well, friendships have already been data mined from the game's files, so those are most likely coming back, and those are cool. They're probably going to be like how they were in Mortal Kombat 11. They're just going to be neat little funny sequences. We'll also probably get some stage fatalities, which I'm really sick of them not having stage fatalities on launch. Like, I don't know why. Do they just forget every time? Like, it's happened with Mortal Kombat X, it happened with Mortal Kombat 11, and it's probably going to happen again with Mortal Kombat 1 unless they just opt to not have stage fatalities at all, which is kind of crazy. So, yeah, this is most likely coming back, but next time, can we just get it on the release of the game instead of having to wait months afterwards? I guess they could also do something just completely new with a completely new fatality type, but I don't think they're going to do that just because I can't even think of like what a new fatality type could be. I feel like they've kind of done everything, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just not being creative enough or imaginative. I don't know. They're most likely going to bring back something that they've already done before, like babalities or animalities, or they've been bringing back a lot of 3D era stuff, so why not harakiris? I've always thought that they should have replaced the quitalities with harakiris, but in Mortal Kombat 1 they just have regular quitalities. So, if we're going to get a harakiri, it's going to be its own sort of thing. But the only problem that you run into with that is whether or not having these characters unalive themselves, just to be nice to YouTube, is too far. And I could definitely understand how it could be, or how it could upset some people or trigger some people. For me, it's not any of those things personally, but it could definitely be an issue. So I would personally say, just let's not bother. Let's not deal with the trouble that it may bring some people. After the expansion, we'll probably get a few more skin packs, maybe an NRS themed one, since we've already had arcade and 3D era themed skin packs. So you gotta have the Mortal Kombat 9 Scorpion in there somehow, so they're probably gonna have an NRS themed skin pack, as well as probably a Mortal Kombat 2021, or more likely a Mortal Kombat 2021 sequel skin pack. Which characters do I see getting 2021 movie skins? Well, one that has to happen is a Bihan movie outfit. Joe Taslim is the GOAT. Then I'd say probably a Scorpion design, another one. Yes, I know there's a lot. And also Kung Lao is probably another one that makes a lot of sense, since his outfit in that movie is really, really good and would probably translate very well into the games. After that, for a fourth design, they're not going to have a Reiko, they're not going to have a Reptile, so probably either a Melina or Natara. Natara's probably an actually really good option, because her outfit in that movie is pretty decent for her amount of screen time. But after this, it sounds like we're going to get another Kombat Pack, or a Kombat Pack 2, just as Mortal Kombat 11 gave us, which makes sense, since with how the game's life cycle has been going, I doubt NRS is going to take too many more risks, and will most likely just stick to what has worked for them in the past, without doing anything crazy different. In this Kombat Pack, the rumored characters are Cassie Cage, Kung Jin, and Jade. And if this is true, that means that Jackie would be the only combat kid to not make it into the game. RIP. Out of these three characters, the only one that I'm somewhat excited for is Jade, because as you guys probably already know, I'm not the biggest fan of the combat kids, especially Kung Jin, and no, it's not because he's gay, alright? That's the only interesting thing about his character that they've explored in the slightest, and even then, it was only for like one scene. After this, I think Mortal Kombat 1 is done. Yeah, call me a pessimist, but I just think that they most likely had plans to do more, but with the reputation that the game got early on and the weird communication NRS has been having for a while now, since the Mortal Kombat 11 days, and just the strange decisions they would make with the store pricing and paying for fatalities and the offline content, I just think it puts a lot of doubt in my mind that we're going to continue getting stuff for this game beyond what we got with Mortal Kombat 11. And that's unfortunate because that most likely means that NRS needs a break from Mortal Kombat and we're not going to get a Mortal Kombat title after this. More likely something like Injustice. Now, it's not all bad if NRS wants to take some time off from Mortal Kombat. Obviously, at first thought, us fans don't want to go years without a Mortal Kombat game, especially us MK YouTubers. Like, what are we going to do? Gosh, just nothing to talk about for years. Wow, I never even thought about that. But I think there is some good that could come with it as well, because if NRS just has some time to reevaluate themselves in the way that they create these games and their plans going forward, I think it could be helpful, because you got some hints with Mortal Kombat 11 at some of the constant online stuff, some of the weird pricing and not microtransactions per se, kind of microtransactions, but kind of not, I don't know, but the grind and stuff. And then you got some more of that in Mortal Kombat 1. Not to the same level, like it's not as blatantly bad. That's why the game got such good reviews when it came out compared to Mortal Kombat 11, which immediately had issues. But Mortal Kombat 1 was great on launch. Everyone loved it. But then over time, you kind of saw those issues and they were really bad. But I think if NRS just has some time to iron some of those kinks out and just get back to what Mortal Kombat is at its core, it could be good in the long run. It's just, I don't know what I'm going to do with this channel. Oh my god. If it were me, I would honestly change quite a lot about NRS, mostly on the writing team. I think Dominic, last name, I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. I don't know how to, but I just feel like he needs to go. Not because he's like terrible or anything. He's not great either, but he's not terrible, but I think we need someone new just to freshen up Mortal Kombat a little bit and also just switch out some of the rest of the team as well. I'm not saying like fire people or anything, but no, I kind of am saying fire people, but just make whatever improvements need to be made to the writing team, because something isn't connecting, something isn't flowing how it should. And you can feel that with every NRS game, even with the stories that are good, like Mortal Kombat 1. I mean, the Force Snake liked that story, all right? That's a huge accomplishment, but still, something was just off about it, and it doesn't feel like prime Mortal Kombat in terms of story. Obviously, you're never going to have John Tobias or anything, but still, like, I feel like you can still do it, because the 3D era was still good without John Tobias in terms of story, at least in my opinion. And then other things that need to be changed, the focus on the live servicey type stuff. Obviously, Mortal Kombat isn't a live service game or anything, but it just feels very online heavy, online focused, and I don't really like that. I feel like you need to have a balance. You know, there's an online space, but Mortal Kombat has kind of always been about these mini games, these individual fights, feeling like you can fight with your friends locally, the co-op sort of nature of it. They need to bring back tag team and just a lot of those offline content, either with local friends or just by yourself. I think they really need to shift their focus more onto that stuff. Not completely, don't completely negate the online community or anything like that, but I feel like they need to just reevaluate what they want Mortal Kombat to be. Because come on, a story, some towers, and a mode that nobody uses is absolutely pitiful from Mortal Kombat 1. And so we got to make sure that never happens again. And NRS having this time off, I think could help with that, especially since we've seen before that them not making Mortal Kombat games for a while can be helpful. Look at Mortal Kombat 4 and Deadly Alliance. There was a gap there, and Deadly Alliance is a much better game. I don't know about you guys, but to me, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance is a much better game than Mortal Kombat 4. So hopefully we can see something really, really good in the future from this series again. But most of this video has been me talking about what I think NRS is going to do, what combat packs they're going to have, what characters they're going to include in the game, and it hasn't been me talking about what they should do or what I would do with Mortal Kombat 1. So a follow-up video will be releasing this Wednesday where I talk about just that. So make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to get notified when that video comes out. Reminder, this Wednesday. And don't forget to check out the links in the description to my merch store, Twitter, and Instagram. And while you're down there, make sure to give this video a like to show your support. And with that being said, that's it for this video, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.